How's Clovis Unified doing?
Well, today I talked about what I felt were some key topics in order for us to explain how we are moving forward academically with our students. I outlined some of the emotional and social challenges that our kids have returned to school with and what we're doing to overcome those. I also talked about some of the academic challenges we have. Our overall scores in ELA are down by about 6%, and in math we're down by about 9%. However, we do have extensive plans, and actually the funding that we've received is being utilized very intentionally to help bring our kids back on track. I also talked about the fact that we do have the technology now to measure and monitor growth, and that all the indicators are that our kids are growing in the classroom. So given what our teachers are doing and all the different emotional, social and academic supports that we're providing, we really do feel, and the data is showing, that we're back on track. We're getting back on track, I should say.
What ELA is?
English, language arts and math are the two areas that the state of California measures us in. They also measure us in other subjects such as science, but the English, language arts and math are the two key indicators for us because they really are the foundation to everything else.
Now, do you think they were down because of the pandemic and the tidal wave of changes in education?
Yeah, no, they're down mainly because during the year before last we had an entire year of instruction where, you know, half our kids were on Zoom and the other half were in person, and there was a lot of interruption to the educational process. We had kids experiencing a lot of emotional challenges, and also this past year, one of the things I touched on is that we were really plagued by a huge amount of absences of students and staff, and it was extremely disruptive to the instructional process. And so for us, we recognized that we were going to take a dip, but now that we're back, and you know, I've been monitoring the data on a daily basis, and our absences due to COVID are like virtually negligible. So we are really on track to be able to get our kids back to where they need to be.
And is it just having the kids return to in-person learning
Yes.
kind of just gets those numbers back up?
Yeah, having them in person, having them around other kids, having them feeling safe emotionally. It's just so important to set that foundation for learning, yes.
So now managing growth, you mentioned that the Clovis Unified area just keeps on growing.
Yes.
How are you managing that?
So we have a whole team managing that, looking at projections, interfacing with our city leaders, City of Fresno, City of Clovis, looking at where growth is going to be occurring, interfacing with all of the developer community. And so we have a pretty good pulse, I would say, on what's needed into the future in terms of schools. So we have our 35th elementary school opening at Fowler McKinley now on August 24, and that's designed and well on its way to happening. And then there's been a lot of work behind the scenes pertaining to our new educational centre, Terry Bradley Educational Centre, which is opening for grades 7, 8 and 9 in August 2025. And it's another educational centre, so it's a very significant project.
You seem to avoid the pratfalls that Fresno Unified is going when it comes to school naming, or Central Unified is going with school naming or renaming. Is that because you kind of already have the system internally
Yes.
naming after educators?
Well, actually, there's a system in place, but and it involves our local community. It involves all of our stakeholders, really, and also involves our governing board, who ultimately approve a name. But the process includes looking at the historical context of the school. So, for example, Granite Ridge or Valley Oak, and then some of our schools are named after famous leaders in our society, Lincoln Elementary, and then after past educators like Janet Young Elementary. So a lot of thought is given to the context of the school and what the community's desire is at the time. But it's an entire process, and it's a well thought out process that gives everybody a voice.
How's the labour situation going with the Clovis Unified Employees?
Yeah, we've been monitoring teacher shortages around the state. We ourselves did not experience that. I would say that, you know, all of our shortages for teachers have either been filled or in the process of being filled. Some of the areas, though, that we really are feeling it are in our transportation department. We've had a lot of issues in terms of not being able to fully staff our buses, our bus drivers. Also our instructional assistants. We have a lot of openings for instructional assistants to assist us in our special education department. And a lot of that is occurring because our youth are able to get other jobs with the latest laws around minimum wage and things like that. Students, college students who typically would be helping us out for, you know, minimum wage are able to secure other positions that are incentivizing the college students.
What about with the talk to the union? How's that going?
Well, we are still in the process of addressing some of the PERB violations that have been leveraged against the district, and that process is continuing, and based on what I'm hearing, will continue into November, December. And at that time, we'll be awaiting some news on what the courts have decided in terms of how Clovis Unified can proceed into the future with respect to our employee representation.
How did the district come up with this specific safety plan?
Oh, so with regards to our Catapult emergency management system, actually the work that was that went into deciding on that company to partner with occurred over 2 years ago. Our team looked into several different companies, and we liaised with our first responder colleagues and agencies, and we landed on Catapult EMS. All of this has been actually in the works for over 2 years, and I will tell you that, you know, we get a lot of questions about our open campuses and the fact that we don't have, you know, fences and barbed wire, metal detectors. And as I was talking with the owner of Catapult, who himself liaises with the FBI, he was telling me that, you know, that having fences and metal detectors and things like that present challenges too, because kids can be corralled into a facility if an intruder gets in. So he did tell me that what the general consensus around school safety is that speeding up your response to a situation is the #1 priority, and that's what Catapult EMS does. It speeds it up to where things are happening at an exponentially faster rate than what we had before. So we're very excited from that point of view.